She is the 2017 Global Champ for World-Class. Please put your hands together for Kaitlyn Stewart. There she
You never stop learning and you never stop growing, which is something I absolutely love about this industry. So, something that I really take pride in is I prefer to call myself a bartender rather than a mixologist, because
yes.
for me, a bartender is somebody who tends to the bar. A mixologist, yes, there's like the geeky sciencey ones that are using, all the crazy wild tools and the rotovaps and,
Right.
stuff that like the average bartender at home or, behind your favorite down the street pub isn't using. But a mixologist by definition is somebody who mixes liquid in a glass. So like my dad who makes a rum and coke or pours a scotch
Right.
on ice is technically a mixologist. So
Right. I was thinking the guy at the home hardware that mixes our paint is technically a mixologist too, right?
right, years behind the bars is what's going to give you experience and give you confidence in
Right.
mixing something in this, whether you're doing a trick with it, making it look very very easy, but that's part of our job. And yes, like all of that experience is going to come from being behind the bar, reading books, taking courses. If anything has taught us this last year, there's so much content available online, like free content available online,
Right.
to be able to like use as a resource to like really up your skills. And all these brands have had to pivot too. And for myself, typically I'd be traveling around the world, like you said, which is an amazing perk of the job, an amazing perk of winning world class when I did in 2017. But I can still connect with bartenders around the world, virtually like this. And,
Right.
these big brands like Diageo have been putting out amazing content online for all of us to learn and grow. So yeah, when I first entered world class, I kind of thought to myself, is this the competition for me? I know I want to do this because I want to challenge myself. And I know that this is going to be the biggest stage to challenge myself on. Obviously, first I had to get through the Canadian round, and win
And how many
Canada to be able
rounds
to
were there?
represent my country. So in Canada, every country does it a little bit different. In Canada, we do an entry round, a regional round, and then a national round. So
Okay.
there's three rounds that prepare you for, the next stages as we go along. But even entering that, like getting to know some of the bartenders in the community and then across Canada was, is so valuable. Because I picked up tips and tricks from these amazing bartenders that, worked down the street from me, and was able to implement them and put them into my arsenal. And I think as
Right.
bartenders, that's our biggest gift. There's something so special about watching a Japanese trained bartender.
Right.
Like just like the
Describe
flick of
that
the
for me.
wrist. It's like this, their hands and their motion, they're very like steadfast in and grounded with where they're standing. But like their hands and their arms are, it's almost like a choreographed dance or
Right.
somebody like conducting an orchestra. So it's like the way that they're with ease able to hold their jigger and like cut it off, so like there's no drips and spills. And every time they pour from a bottle, they have their napkin there to wipe the drip that's coming off of the lip of the
Right.
bottle. And it comes so naturally to them that it looks so effortless and you're just like mesmerized by it. So like watching Japanese trained bartenders, I'm not going to say just Japanese bartenders because there's a lot of amazing Japanese trained bartenders, around the world. I love speed rounds. I love going through a high paced, fast volume. Like
You like doing
I
it yourself or you like watching
I
the speed
love it.
rounds?
I love doing it
Like being
myself.
part of the speed rounds,
So
yes.
yeah, to be part of the speed round. And for me, like that's something that I love to teach all of my tips and tricks about, like how to be a speedy bartender and creating efficiency, whether that's how you build out your well in front of you and how you're going to build your drinks. If you're doing a speed round of six different cocktails, calculating when to pick up a bottle because you only want to pick that bottle up once to build out these six drinks if it's in
Right.
multiple drinks. And it almost comes down to like a little mathematical equation. But that's what I
COVID has done a lot of horrible things to the industry. What good has it brought to the industry?
I think it's really brought us together in terms of like these one-on-one connections, you know? Like I think I've had more one-on-one conversations with other bartenders this like past calendar, not calendar year, but this kind of last
Right.
March to March year than I have in a very long time. So it's at least brought that our community hasn't kind of just been left out there to dry. We've actually really come
Right.
together to support everybody. You know, I worked really closely with the Bartenders Benevolent Fund, which is a nonprofit that we raised a ton of money to be able to give back to our bartenders in our community if they needed assistance paying their rent, buying groceries, buying, you
Right.
know, cat and dog food. So I think this like has really brought us together instead of separate us and keep us down, which is amazing to see. Really, it is. For me, it was all about seeking out a mentor. You know, I had worked every type of bar job, you know, from nightclub to neighborhood pub to restaurant, is where I met my kind of mentor who showed me this completely other side of the bartending world. His name was Justin Taylor, and he's out here in Vancouver. Awesome dude. And he kind of pushed me into my first cocktail competition, which was the most Canadian competition ever because it was a Caesar competition,
A
not
bloody
a Caesar
Caesar.
salad, but a Caesar cocktail.
Right.
And
I
I
know
didn't
it
know it
well.
existed. Right? I mean, yeah, you're Canadian. Come on.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know this world existed. And he was like, I think you'd be really good at this, you know, knowing a little bit of your background and knowing that you want to push yourself. And I was like, okay, like, what do I do? And he kind of coached me along, being like, you know, you need to kind of, you know, tell a story and, you know, be able to talk and work at the same time, which is very so yeah, so entered world class and you know got to the it's insane. It's like the Olympics of bartending. It tests every aspect of bartending and bar life. You know, you have to make a balanced cocktail first and foremost. You have to know what's in your cocktail. You have to have an answer for everything, like why you're using that type of glass, why you're using that type of ice. You know, where was this spirit produced, and why are you using certain ingredients to match this spirit? You know,
And do they
all of
give
these
you a
things.
textbook to work from, or
No, I
you know,
mean,
here's the spirits we're
luckily,
using. Here's what you should know about them. Here's what the judges might ask you about.
well, I mean, the Diageo portfolio, we use the reserve portfolio. So there's like a core
Right.
group of spirits that we're working with and brands that we're working with. And I mean, you can ask your local, like, you know, brand rep and whatnot, but like, you know, Wikipedia and the power of the internet is
Yeah.
always your
Yeah.
friend when you're trying to, you know, gain some knowledge. And
Chris Cardone, who I think you know very well.
I do. Yes, he was my 2017 running mate.
Yes. You both went to the finals together and you edged him out.
Yep. It was the cape that got him in the end. You have to ask him about that story, about the cape.
The cape. I have this theory
So,
about you can't use a cape in a bartending competition because it'll always mess you up. I didn't know
you
that he was
know,
wearing a cape.
we were doing our speed round and I mean, we were in Mexico City, so the speed round was designed around a luchador theme, so like Mexican
Oh, okay.
wrestling. And
Yeah.
so some of us had luchador masks, and he had an awesome cape on. And he's a great flair, like an actual legit flair bartender. And
Yeah,
the
I've
cape
heard.
tripped him up. He was trying to do some behind the back throws, and you know the cape tripped him up a couple times. So it was the bloody cape that was his nemesis in the end. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the definition of a cocktail. So, like by definition, a cocktail is spirit, sugar, bitters, and water. Water can be dilution from ice. Water can be like a soda water added in. Bitters don't necessarily have to be like a bitters or a tincture. It could be, you know, something else on the side. So for me, balance is just that. You have to have a fully functioning cocktail. You know, all of the elements need to come together and harmoniously on your palate. One last little piece of advice to all of my fellow bartenders out there is I don't know, keep making rad shit. Have
Yeah.
fun. Don't take yourself too seriously. Have fun with what you do. At the end of the day, it's just liquid in the glass. It's you know, it's an amazing opportunity to create a story in the glass, to have some fun with it. So don't take yourself too seriously. That's
So here
awesome.
we are with your social media. We can find you and learn from you at all these different locations.
You
Instagram,
got it.
you've got your personal page on Instagram, and then there's likable cocktails, right?
Yes. So the Instagram, just to clarify, is K8OS. Just if that's a capital O or
Oh,
a zero, but OS. But yes, K-Docs,
gotcha.
likable cocktails. Yep. Either
All
way,
right.
they're all linked in some way.